where the words fake news have come to mean other people's opinions. It is vital to rely on news platforms with journalists who have feet on the ground and can report the truth. New York Parrot, a New York-based national and global news outlet, is changing the narratives of media operations. We focus on the news that matters, like self-empowerment, entrepreneurship, finances, health, security, politics, and more. We strive to curb violence, racial and economic discrimination, and to promote peace and socio-economic development of multiculturally diverse world. As we give voice to the people, we also give your business a voice and make it heard. Get your products and services off the ground by advertising on our fast-growing platform. With so much of daily visits to New York Parrot, you can't afford to be invisible to prospective clients on the website they trust the most. Our posts reach millions of people across the New York State and around the world. Advertising on our news site will unlock an audience of thousands of potential customers on your doorstep. New York Parrot is born to prosperously speak tomorrow for the voiceless.
Greetings, my esteemed global audience. Thank you for joining us again on the Community Organizers Show every Sunday from 2 to 3 New York time. My name is Sheikh Musa Drammeh. I am your host. Behind the scene producing this show is Mutiu Olawuyi. Greetings. Today, we would like to talk about religious freedom in the United States. Muslim Americans have joined their fellow Muslim brothers and sisters all over the world in observing the month of Ramadan of 2024. And here in the United States, because of the strong religious freedom that we enjoy, not only do we have the freedom, but it is protected and celebrated. And for that, Muslims are among the beneficiaries of this clause in the Constitution. It is one of the most powerful, but to Muslims, it is the most powerful. Having the ability to observe your religious beliefs and to practice your religious traditions and to dress and behave as Muslims, these are tremendous benefits to our growing Muslim American communities. A couple of days ago, we had an interfaith training, and the lecturer, Dr. Mehnaz, highlighted the fact that she travels all over the world, through her lecturing program. But she said the freedom, the religious freedom that we enjoy in the United States do not exist anywhere else, including in the Muslim world. The religious freedoms that the faithful enjoy in the United States do not exist, even in countries that are deemed Muslim countries. So she, emphasized how important it is for us to recognize it and to cherish it and to value it. So that's why today I wanted to dedicate this show, based on the benefits that we've been reaping because of this religious freedom that is enshrined in the Constitution of the United States. Now, what is religious freedom? Religious freedom, in my definition, is the ability to practice what you believe, A, and B, the ability for others to also practice what they believe, and C, the ability for others not to practice any religion at all. So A, the ability to practice what you believe. B, the ability for others who do not share your religious beliefs and values and traditions to also practice their religious beliefs, and see those who do not profess to be part of any organized religion to also be able to be who they are. That is what religious freedom is, meaning that you have the right to your religious beliefs. Other people have their right to their religious beliefs. And others who do not believe in any religion, they also have the right to that which they, hold in their hearts. Everybody has his or her rights, and everybody else is safe and protected from your rights. Meaning that we should not use this freedom lightly, and we should not abuse it. We should not think that, well, I'm Muslim, therefore my job here is to make everybody Muslim. And if you're not Muslim, then you really are not entitled to my love and protections and, fellowship or neighborly rights. These are false, beliefs. You're Muslim, you're Christian, you're Jewish, you're Hindu, you're Buddhist. You are entitled to practice yours accordingly, but so do others. And so do those who do not even believe in any religion. This is one of the most powerful clauses that is enshrined in our Constitution. The United States has tremendous benefits, but these freedoms, the freedom of the press, the freedom to assemble, the freedom, to voice your views, the freedom to, for redress your grievances, and the freedom of religion. These are immense benefits to those that value them. That is why, we continue to develop. That is why, even though we are diverse, we come from different backgrounds and different walks of life, but we coexist peacefully because we respect each other's beliefs and backgrounds and practices and traditions. This is not common in for example, in Europe, and even in the Muslim countries. There are always some type of limitations to what you can do, how you can do things, what you can say, and who you can, say it against. If you go against the government in Muslim countries, you will not say it again. You will be punished. If you ridicule, the king or the royalty or the president or the military leader, you will be punished. But here, you can. And people are doing it, attacking everybody that they deem is not doing the things that they deem, they must be doing. So every citizen has the right, to call for, leaders that they deem are not providing or are not up to the task. This is not true in Muslim countries or majority of the Muslim countries. So therefore, I thought that it is very, timely for me to spend the time that we have to talk about this, this religious freedom. My wife and I and our colleagues, started the very first fully accredited full-time Muslim school in the county of the Bronx, New York City. And we were able, to obtain all the certification, all the license, and all the books, all the transportation, every entitlement that the students are entitled to in public schools, we have him. And, we felt no isolation. We felt, nothing less than. We were valued and we were given the same respect and the same assistance that, were being provided to public schools. Even though we were Muslim schools, 100% Muslim schools, our curriculum is Islamic, our environment is Islamic, everything is Islamic, but nonetheless, because of the religious freedom, we were able to exercise our rights as Muslims, to open a school and to teach Islam and to maintain the etiquettes, of Islamic environment and, the ideology and the discipline and the history all tied into our Islamic, beliefs. This is huge. Some country, they do not allow differentiation. So you walk into the country, you abandon your background, who you are, you assimilate immediately. To them, you are a new person there. Everything that you came with, no longer applicable. Your religion, your culture, your background, your language, everything they want you to eliminate. Some countries, women cannot have, their hijab on. Some countries don't even allow masajids to be built. But in the United States, a couple of days ago, some 2 or 3 Muslim girls who had filed for lawsuit against, the New York City Police Department for forcefully removing the hijab, went to court and won a record over $17 million. Now the city is liable to paying, for that class action lawsuit because hijab was part of their religious identity, part of their religious freedom, part of their religious protection. So no police or law enforcement or anybody else has the right to remove the hijab off of woman's head. This is so powerful, so empowering, and so delightful to know that, yes, you can come from all over the world and practice whatever faith that you practice back to where you're coming from. Meaning that you can bring your value, your tradition, your faith with you when you come to the United States, and they will be protected, and they will be celebrated, and they will be guaranteed. This is very, very profound. This is beautiful. This is why United States continue to be stronger and stronger and stronger, because rather than marginalizing people because of their faith, it guarantees to practice their faith. Therefore, it empowered them and protected their interests. And that's why I thought that, it is befitting when we are about to end Ramadan, to really talk about how immensely this religious protection clause, has been to Muslims and other faith groups. So now let me talk about Ramadan since I mentioned it. As the world over, is experiencing one of the most difficult, conflict on the Holy Land. Has taken.
Do you know that there is a publishing company?
Sorry, this conflict has taken thousands and thousands and thousands of lives, and a lot of people have been kidnapped. Some of them died in the process. Some of them are still being held against their wishes, and therefore the whole world is in pain and mourning and suffering, in solidarity, with those in the midst of it, whether they are Israelis or whether they are Palestinians. So everyone is affected, and everyone is voicing their views on it, pros and cons. And because of that, in the beginning of Ramadan, we have some elements within our community, our Muslim community, who thought that, dispatching or devising mechanism in which we boycott, elected officials that they deem are not very supportive, or, isolate ourselves with the interfaith community that we have been so close to, was the way to go. We say no. That's not the way to go. We are American. And since we're American, our neighborly rights cannot be canceled because of what is going on overseas. Because we are American, we are one family. Today we fight together, we suffer together, we believe together, and we celebrate together. Yes, we have families from wherever we are coming from, because this land is a land of immigrants. Everyone comes from another place. It doesn't matter who you are, how long you've been here, what your race is, or what your economic position, what your position politically, you are an immigrant. And because of that, our number one loyalty must be to what unites us: the flag of the United States, the Constitution, the protection of the land, That's why when you raise your hand, if you are naturalized American citizen, you sworn, to be willing to take up arms to defend the United States of America. You raise your hand and you sworn that from today on, I have cut up all the allegiance, all the, relationship, all the citizenship from all other countries except the United States. This is the only land that I am committing to pick up arms and defend its sovereignty. I did that, and everybody who became citizen did it. Now, I was not born in here. I'm considered a Gambian, an African, but today, if United States was fighting with the Gambia, I will be fighting, alongside the United States, unfortunately. And that is why the United States is the most powerful nation, because people come from all walks of life and sworn to protect it and sworn to improve its quality of life and sworn to do whatever it takes to make it a great country. And people have done it. People have done it. Everything that we're enjoying come from immigrants. Every aspect of it. Every aspect of it. Every aspect of the United States, even the bombs that we build and kill people, the planes we're flying, these huge submarines, everything come from immigrant brains. Everything. The Constitution that we deem the most powerful Constitution was put together by leaders who ran away from oppressive regimes and kingdoms and royalties, and to come and be free. And in the process, they were able to mobilize, freedom fighters. And it took them a while. It took them a lot of debates and fightings and conflict. But at the end, they were able to spend months and months in closed doors to write the Constitution. And then they ratified and continue to ratify it, and then add amendment after amendment after amendment to a point where almost every person's right is guaranteed there. Every person's dignity is acknowledged, and every person's honor is enshrined there. If you read the Constitution of the United States, which I have done several times, then you will see how profoundly worded it is. As imperfect as human beings are, those who put together the Constitution have done a marvelous job. With the limited human capacity, human intelligence, they nonetheless have done the best that they could. And what they have done endured for over 200 years and continue to be the shining light throughout the world. Over 40 countries in the world have adopted in some way the Constitution of the United States, because it has been up to this day the most powerful political document ever written by any nation. I am here expressing, my immense gratitude, to all my fellow Americans, especially my fellow New Yorkers, during this Ramadan, during this fellowship, during this solidarity, during this interfaith, interactions. We've been very blessed as Muslims to observe Ramadan and breakfast every night with, non-Muslims, our neighbors who come to fellowship with us, to show solidarity every night. This is the most beautiful occasion where we saw each other's, love and respect and honor. And I am so excited. That's why I said I must spend, the time on this show to acknowledge the benefit of, the religious freedom, but at the same time also, to send my strongest thank you to my fellow New Yorkers. It has been a wonderful occasion to see so many Christians and Jews and Hindus and Buddhists and Sikhs and, Jains and, everybody else, coming to the masajids and sitting down and having conversations and asking questions and, and eating, breaking bread with their fasting Muslim neighbor. This is so beautiful. And the more we do this thing, the easier it is to find our commonality, and the easier it is, to ward off evil and to ward off divisive elements and to ward off those who seek, to make us enemies. And this is a beautiful time, and the Muslim community has been forever grateful, for this solidarity. Now, let me also say one thing. This year, for the first time, again, because of the religious freedom, the migrants coming to the United States were always like the Latin Americans and, Europeans and Asians. Africans, were coming, but in a very small number when you compare them to others. This year, for the first time, we have seen so many West Africans coming to the United States as migrants. Here in New York now, we have over 187,000 migrants. Imagine that, one city, 187,000 migrants. A lot of them are Muslims. A lot of them are Muslim migrants coming from West Africa. And the city is so hospitable. The city is so responsive to their needs. These are the people that other people deem illegal, people who deserve to be, sent back and, and rejected and marginalized. New York City say no. They are here. They will benefit from what New York offers, because we are not only the nation of immigrants, but more so we're a city of immigrants. New York City is the typical personification of what gorgeous mosaic is. This is where every other block you will hear different language, you will see people practice different religion, you will see people dress differently, you will see coming from different backgrounds, different walks of life, you will see the diversity from all over the world represented here. New York City, more so than any other place on the planet. And therefore, the government is so prudent to say that since we are a city of immigrants, we will always be hospitable to the immigrants. Yeah, there are some, hiccups here and hiccups there. There are some challenges because we have limited resources, but nonetheless, we will afford them the best hospitality that we can provide. And I, who in the midst of it, can testify to it, that the city of New York has been extremely responsive to the needs of these migrants, whether they're asylum seekers, whether they're economic migrants, whether they are students, or whether they are, people running away from, extreme poverty, whatever it is, the city does not care. If you're here, you are entitled to what the city offers for as long as you're here. While you're going through the process, imagine now, that the mayor of the largest city of New York traveling several times to Washington, D.C., advocating for the express approval of work authorization for the migrants. These people come here, I would say illegally. But when they come here, rather than treating them as illegal immigrants, the mayor traveled to Washington, D.C., advocating for the federal government to expedite the approval of work authorization so that these migrants will be able to work, because they did not come here, to get charity, to be felt sorry for. They came here to work hard so that they can improve the quality of their lives and their families' lives, and by doing so, improve our economic viability and strength. Every migrant that call America home add to the value of America, every one of them. Whether you have high IQ, low IQ, educated, not educated, strong or weak, if you're here, you have added value to the United States, progress. And for that reason, let us continue to rejoice the fact that we are in a nation that loves us, embraces us, values us, and wants us to be here. Yet there are some states that don't have the same attitude. There are some cities with the political orientation of anti-immigrant, anti-stranger, anti-poor, anti-this, anti-that, but not city like New York City. Never. You will never ever be marginalized because you're immigrant. As long as you follow the rules and regulations, as long as you are grateful and do things that are noble and honorable, then you will not find any obstacle to your rise to getting your papers and getting a job, and then maybe later on getting a car, and then maybe buying a home, and then establishing a business, and then starting a family, and then become a typical, well-established American family. This is where dreams are realized, where aspirations, will take you further than anywhere else. And let me give you the formula that I always said, everywhere. I said the United States is paradise for those who value good education, hard work, honest living, healthy lifestyle, and patriotism. Let me repeat that again. The United States of America is paradise for those who prioritize good education, hard work, honest living, healthy lifestyle, and patriotism, regardless of your race, your ethnicity, your gender, your background, or your nationality. If you prioritize these attributes, then sooner or later, you will be handsomely rewarded by what America provides for those who prioritize those. Let me read them again. This way, at least you get it. 3 times, you should get it. If you prioritize good education, hard work, honest living, healthy lifestyle, and patriotism, you will achieve your American dream, no matter who you are. Because this nation has it for all. It is the greatest nation. This is where you can realize your dreams, and you can magnify your skills, and your talents, and your God-given natural ability to make things happen. And so for that reason, we always ask the new arrivals, we said, do not use any scheme of get rich quick. Do not go for shortcuts in life. Do not be recruited into doing wrong and illegal things. Do not associate with wrong crowds. Do not listen to the wrong advisors who concentrate on so many self-destructive things, because maybe they themselves went through it. Follow the procedure that will get you to success, meaning that plan long term, but work now. That's what I advise every immigrant that I meet. When I give Friday sermons, on Randolph Island, I always remind them of the greatness of this city, but also the fact that there can be pitfalls if you listen to wrong people, or you follow, instant gratification or shortcuts, and, get rich quick schemes and stuff like that. It doesn't work that way. Greatest city, but you got to work your tails off, because that's how you gain. You have to work hard, and you got to be patient, and you have to be willing to study and improve your understanding. Whatever you do, even if you graduate from it, you got to continue to study and study and study and master your craft. And that is where, the dreams will be realized, and that is where the expectations will be met and exceed, and that is where every single aspect of America becomes more than what you expected before you come. So I just wanted to stop by and then express the benefits of, religious freedom, and also to talk a little bit about what happened during Ramadan in terms of our fellow New Yorkers, and also the fact that, we're hosting Eid al-Fitr prayer service for these Muslim migrants for the first time in the history of the city, I would say maybe even the country, where migrants are given a day to celebrate Eid al-Fitr. Imagine that. Imagine that you are so embraced, so loved, so welcome, that your religious celebrations will take place despite of whether you're new, you are undocumented, or whatever, because of your religious, freedom. Entitlement entitles you to observe and pray Eid al-Fitr as if, you are, in wherever Muslim country you came from. So I am excited. I am beyond description, the fact that we're able to do what we're doing. and we're able to benefit from what America offers without compromising our religious values or our religious beliefs. All of us are raising families, and we never ever hesitated to teach them the true meaning of Islam, to protect them, from the greater appeals of what can fail them. And we always mold them into righteous American Muslims. And this is hugely beneficial to all of us. If you do the right thing, your family will be fine. But if you come here and you ignore, the value of Islam and, your background, then guess what? The society also has other compartments that you can be sucked into, and you completely lost. And once you're lost, you no longer have the platform to protect whatever family that you are building or raising here. You have to know the value that you have, and then you have to connect to your background, and you have to protect it, and you have to preserve it in order to have that platform for your children. Otherwise, you cannot help them. There are a lot of people who fall into the pitfalls of chasing American dream, chasing American dream, chasing American dream. By the way, making a lot of money. By the way, gaining, academic achievements, milestone after milestone. But in the process, they lost the value of their religion. And by the time they look back, it's too late, because their children have already gone astray, and they can no longer retrieve them, except by the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But while you're chasing your American dream, do not lose your religious value, so that your family, will understand that, this country does not require you to abandon your religion or your culture or those that, you hold dearly, as valuable aspect of who you are. So let's enjoy the freedom, but let's not abuse it. Let's enjoy the togetherness, but let's not abuse it. And last but not least, I want to remind my fellow Muslims, even though we have tremendous success in fellowship, in solidarity, in non-Muslims visiting us and breaking bread with us, we still have a lot of work to do in terms of numbing, the element that continue to call for boycott and isolation and whatever. Don't fall for it. Don't fall for it. We gain strength by sitting at the table and having heart-to-heart conversations, difficult conversations. That's how we gain track toward our goals. Not isolation, not stop talking, not boycotting. We must look at each other, despite of our differences of position, and said, how can we move forward? How can we agree to disagree? How can we maintain our bonds as neighbors, yet in the midst of our divergent interests, in the midst of things that are so painful to each other? How can we move forward together? How can we maintain our bond? And that is why I want to end this story. I want you to look at every single person that is next to you, left and right, or front and back, and then see them as a family member, as someone who could save your life. Because, there are a lot of times where we go to the hospital and we are diagnosed for someone that needs organ transplantation. And guess where we get that organ? From neighbors that we probably never ever know. If we boycott them, how do we ask them for organ that can match our needs? If we don't like them, we would be hypocrite to take their organs. So we have to be smart. We have to use wisdom. That's why in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala always, in most cases, where they say Al-Kitab wal-Hikmah, the book and wisdom. Al-Kitab wal-Hikmah, the book and wisdom. Because there are times where wisdom will prevail. There are times when the book said black and white, this is what you should do, this is what you should say, that's a case closed. But there are other times where you have to use reason, wisdom. You have to use science. You have to use the collective agreement of the scholars, because you cannot find black and white answer, from the book. then that's where, the collective, opinions of, the scholars kicks in, the science, the common sense, the wisdom, al-kitab wal-hikmah. And I want all of you to reject any call for division, for hatred, for boycott. Yes, we are mad as hell for what is going on the Holy Land and many other places in Africa, in Sudan. But that doesn't mean we use it on our neighbors in the United States. We have to be wise. And that has been my message. Yes, let's sit at the table with heavy heart, with completely different position, but yet find ways where we can maintain our common interests, where we can strengthen our bond, and where we can have hard conversations that sometimes is difficult to have. Because at the end of the day, no matter what is happening now, tomorrow we will be together. Tomorrow our children will be together. Tomorrow we will need good infrastructure, good hospitals, good schools, good public safety. We will need good environment, climate. We will need all these things that mutually benefit us. And if we are, collapsing it, we are destroying it, then how do we enjoy or how do we protect ourselves? So please, any call for boycott, any call for division, any call for hatred, reject it, reject it, reject it. Because we are one family, we are one American. And here we are one New Yorker. And I'm so very happy that New Yorkers rejected the call for boycott in most cases. There are some people who are boycotting, but they're so small and nobody even know them. They're not known because they have never ever been visible. Even the organizations that are calling for boycott, they're doing it for fundraising mechanism. They enjoy America so much and they cherish it because they know that where they come from or their parents come from, they have no freedom, no right, they cannot do it. So they come here now and they want to abuse and mislead and in the process do major fundraising. A lot of times they come up with this research, small research, that samples maybe 200 people and now they want to paint it as national problem, not a national problem. This is the most hospitable nation for Muslims. This is the most welcoming nation for Muslims. This is the most beautiful place for Muslims to raise family and protect their religious values. Anybody who says otherwise is lying to you, lying to you. And for that reason, let's celebrate, let's rejoice, let's value the United States for all the freedoms, but especially religious freedom. So my brothers and my sisters, thank you for listening to me. Thank you for sharing this video. And thank you for continuing to follow this show every Sunday from 2 to 3. After Ramadan, God willing, we will begin to invite guests so that we can, talk to the guests, get their opinion, get their feedback, get their position, and enriching the experience that this show provides. But in the meantime, I'm just highlighting, some of the aspects of our existence as community organizers. So this show, I believe, is the only show dedicated to community organizing. And because community organizing is so profoundly needed, more so than anything else, because community organizing has been the catalyst for change that communities need. We highlight issues of importance, and then we bring it to the attention of those who can, solve them. And this is why I'm excited, to host this show, and I'm excited to raise issues of concern and interest, and also to talk about relevant, ongoing, issues affecting all of us, whether it is, the conflict in the Middle East, or whether it is the, the development, in the United States or in New York, or whether it's Ramadan that we are in, or whether the treatment that, we are providing our brothers and sisters who are migrants, or whether anything else that is of concern or interested to us. So this show will continue to be a platform where you can learn thing or two, that are beneficial to you, and also encourage you, to take positions on issue and to be a community organizer. And if you live in an area that is filth, then you got to organize to clean it. If you live in an area with public safety problems, then you organize to create a public safety. If you live in an area where there's a racial or religious or economic or ethnic or political tension, then you organize to bring healing and love there. If you are in an area where women are marginalized and misogynistic attitude prevails, then you organize to change that. If you live in an area where there's inequality and disparity and oppressed, then you organize to change it. Community organizers do not allow anything that is not good for society, not good for people, to fester on. We highlight it, we take action so that we get remedy for where remedy is needed. We get solution to the problems, and then we highlight, the impact that these, organizing groups have in their respective communities. So in later shows, we will be, profiling some of the brave soldiers we have in community organizing, field, and to show, the public, who they are, what they have been doing, and what makes their, contribution so impactful, so that we can encourage the greater public into community organizing. We do it for free, voluntarily, but because the most important thing in life that God gave us free, to breathe, to be able to talk and walk and run and enjoy everything God gave us for free. Therefore, our community organizing is also free, so that we can enhance the quality of our existence, in everywhere that we exist. God bless you all, and may God continue to make us the agents of change and merciful messengers, and those who are valuable assets to our communities, and those who prevent evil and injustice and oppression and hatred, and those who promote peace and love and harmony and peaceful coexistence. See you next Sunday, and I appreciate tremendously for your continued participation on this program. Thank you.
In a world where the quality of information available to poorer communities is doctored, tainted, and sometimes regressive, where the words fake news have come to mean other people's opinions, it is vital to rely on news platforms with journalists who have feet on the ground and can report the truth. New York Parrot, a New York-based national and global news outlet, is changing the narratives of media operations. We focus on the news that matters, like self-empowerment, entrepreneurship, finances, health, security, politics, and more. We strive to curb violence, racial and economic discrimination, and to promote peace and socio-economic development of multiculturally diverse world. As we give voice to the people, we also give your business a voice.